Femininity isn't a vibe, it's not a style, it's not an aesthetic, it's not something you put on. It's something that you walk in. It's something that is innate to women. In a world that wants to erase the beauty of womanhood now more than ever, it's time that we come back to the truth that femininity is God's beautiful design for women. It's God's idea. It's not man's, not culture's, not feminism's, and not the counterculture response to feminism. Today we're answering the question, what is femininity really? And how do we live it out without chasing perfection or falling for culture's counterfeits? So let's explore. All right, first, femininity is designed by God, not by anyone else. Genesis 2:18 tells us that God made woman as a suitable helper for man. So not as an assistant, but as his counterpart. Femininity is God's intentional design, distinct from masculinity, but just as powerful and just as equal. Femininity is the expression of woman's nature through maturing grace, strength under authority, relational wisdom, beauty, and creative power, all submitted to God's design. It's not weakness, it's not silence, it's a posture of the heart expressed through action. God didn't create Eve from Adam's head or his foot. He made her from Adam's side. So she was made to walk with him, but not rule over him or be trampled by him. She completed him in the way that only the feminine can. One of the most essential aspects of femininity is the ability to nurture. Whether it's children, her spouse, ideas, relationships, spaces, and people, the feminine woman cultivates. She multiplies. Have you heard the saying where it's like, if you give a woman a house, she'll make it a home. If you give her a seed, she'll give you children. If you give her ingredients, she'll make a meal. She creates. Honestly, the womb being inside the woman is so powerful as far as it is in her design to bring forth and to create. It has to be nurtured before it can become a creation. The child is nurtured in her womb. If you look at ingredients, she's pouring her love and care into the cooking, which becomes the meal. So deep and beautiful. The thing is, you don't need to be a mother to have a nurturing spirit. It's not directly tied to having children, although that is the easiest example. But everything she does, she should be nurturing and building up and leading with love. Some practical examples that are nurturing are things like creating a peaceful and welcoming home that's just full of love and warmth. When someone walks in, they know that is a nurturing place. In anything she does, she's speaking healing and life and encouragement into people. She brings a gentleness in tense moments. So any little dispute or fight, it can always be met with gentleness and love as opposed to rage and anger. Highly recommend it. It is life-changing. And another thing that's very nurturing is just seeing the beauty in everything. Seeing the beauty in the ordinary, looking on the bright side, being optimistic. Those things are very nurturing to others around you. A biblical example of a woman who followed this is Hannah in 1 Samuel. She longed for a child, and when God finally gave her her son, she didn't just nurture him, she gave him fully to the Lord. And by that, I mean he went and lived in the temple. She only saw him like once a year, maybe. Through that, her faithful and nurturing spirit brought life and spiritual fruit to the entire nation of Israel. Because that boy was Samuel the prophet who anointed Saul and David as king. Femininity also walks in wisdom and influence. Women have such a power to influence, they don't even know it. Femininity itself isn't loud, but it's deeply influential. And a godly woman uses her mind and her discernment to lead with grace, but not manipulation. There are many times and many women I've heard who speak about how they discern things far before their husband. I think that is a very strong gift that women have, is they do have an extra discernment that men don't seem to have. It just comes naturally to women. The feminine, godly woman is able to use that as a powerful tool in her life. And she has a deep influence over her husband and over her circle. If you look, most influencers out in the world are women. Women's power isn't in pushing, it's in planting the seed. This is important, especially in a relationship with a man. We see the long game a little easier than men. And women do have the ability to plant seeds in men's minds that then bear fruit down the road. So our power isn't in pushing, it's in planting the seeds seeing the long game, speaking life, and using our words with purpose, not idle talk. When we speak, we have to realize that we are planting seeds for the future. Our future, our children's future, our family's future. With great power comes great responsibility. So you need to know when to speak and when to stay silent. As a woman who's walking with God, you can offer wise counsel to your husband, to your children, to your friends. That is a gift that you have. But it is very important to cultivate discernment through prayer and studying the word. You know, a woman who really did this well, basically choosing her battles, when to speak, when to stay silent, seeing ahead, was Abigail in 1 Samuel. Her husband had insulted King David, and David, in response, was going to go just massacre the entire household. Abigail knew her husband was a foolish man. She saw what was going to happen, and she went out to meet David on the road. She prepared, she took gifts with her and servants. She met him on the road and completely changed David's mind. She had the courage to go out and follow what God was telling her in her spirit. And her gracious intervention prevented a bloodbath, a massacre of all her loved ones, all her friends, family, her servants, those in her care. Her femininity saved lives. And later on, David was so impressed with her that when her husband died, he married her right away. He's not letting that one go. Abigail's really cool, honestly. I don't think she gets enough credit. This is one that our culture today really hates, which is femininity is strength under submission. Biblical submission isn't about erasing yourself. It's about choosing to honor God's order out of love and obedience. And as we're on this topic, I do recommend you go watch my video on biblical submission to God. It might really flesh out this concept for you. So femininity is extremely powerful, but it does not fight for control. It yields when it is time, stands when it's right, and trusts when it doesn't understand. So this means things like submitting to your husband's leadership, not because he's perfect or you think he's got the best idea all the time. It's because you trust God's design for man and woman and marriage. God is over man and man is over women as far as God's hierarchy of submission, because it is a mirror of Christ submitting to God the Father. It also means yielding in situations where your pride wants to rise. Oh man, that's a hard one, isn't it? I have found that with any sort of fight, disagreement, or argument, even ones that are very minor but could easily go sideways at any point, I have found that just going in soft and loving diffuses everything. And then very quickly we are right back to joy and peace and deep love in our marriage. But it also works in any other relationship. You can be the first to make peace with a friend or a parent or a coworker. Highly recommended. It is life-changing. Femininity is, as part of this submission, it is also showing restraint and dignity when you could dominate. So in any area where you have authority, you could easily just dominate. Like with Queen Esther, she didn't storm into the king's courts and make her demands. She fasted, she prayed, she honored the structure of husband and wife and king. And in the end, by doing that, she saved her people and she was exalted because she trusted God's timing, his order, used her femininity as a strength, and didn't submit to her fear or her emotions at the time. Beautiful femininity. A woman's beauty, inside and out, is meant to reflect the beauty of her creator. Now, this doesn't mean being obsessed with your looks, all the latest fads, all the latest makeup releases, all the latest plastic surgery and all of that. It means really just carrying yourself with intention, with honor, dignity, and elegance. Which is what this whole channel is about. So subscribe if you haven't already, because we discuss this type of thing all the time. And it's so fun. I love it. Women become more radiant when their heart is surrendered, their mind is at peace, and their life points upward. Have you seen the trend, the Jesus glow? That is a perfect example of this. A woman will glow from within when she is in her purpose, when she is following God's design for her. So, some practical application of this is dressing with dignity and modesty to honor yourself and to honor God and to honor your husband. Keeping your space clean and lovely. Not to impress, but to uplift. And also having a clean, tidy space or feminine space with little touches of flowers and things like that. whatever your style is. I find that so peaceful and calming. Even just having an uncluttered space, it allows my mind to be more free and organized too. And also things like smiling, being encouraging and warm, and uplifting others. Like that is a true, beautiful, and feminine woman. And of course, this idea speaks directly to the Proverbs 31 woman. And even in verses 25 and 28, Proverbs 31, it says, "She is clothed with strength and dignity. Her children rise up and call her blessed." She wasn't just beautiful, she carried herself with strength and dignity in how she lived, served, and led others. Modern feminism is at war with biblical femininity. To understand femininity, you have to also understand what's fighting against it. So modern feminism, especially the third and fourth wave, have told us that to be powerful, we have to become men. That submission is oppression. That motherhood is bondage. That dependence on anyone, a man, or even God, is a weakness. That if a man does not hold up to some unrealistic ideal that feminism has created, then just walk away from him, even if you have his children and are in a covenant marriage with him. But let's be honest, how has any of that worked out for women? We're more anxious, more bitter, more angry, more burned out, more confused than ever before. Like, it breaks my heart. Feminism says, be independent. You don't need anyone. You don't need no man. You're a strong, independent woman. God says it's not good for man to be alone. We were created for interdependence, relationship, not isolation. And when it says good for man to be alone, he means mankind. But also, women are such a blessing to men when it's done right, and men are such a blessing to women. Feminism says you have to compete with men to be equal, but God says he made them male and female. Both bear his image, each one with distinct strengths, not in competition but in completion, because God knows what he's doing, and his plans are beautiful and glorious. Feminism says submission is slavery. God says submission is a gift, even modeled by Christ himself when he submitted to the Father's will and saved all of us. So if you look even at Jezebel, domineering, manipulative, power-hungry, a floozy, her femininity was distorted by rebellion. Now, if you contrast that with Mary, the mother of Jesus, she yielded, was brave, was obedient to God. She was chosen because of how upright she was, because of how she followed God's design for her. So feminism will exalt a Jezebel, but God chose Mary. The spirit of this age wants to blur the lines between man and woman. It mocks modesty, undermines marriages, and encourages women to harden themselves just to survive. But we were never meant to live in survival mode. We were meant to flourish with God's design for us. So, all that to say, femininity does look different on each woman because God designed us to be very unique individuals. But it always bears the same fruit: peace, strength, wisdom, beauty, gentleness, submission, all of these things. Femininity is not about chasing a Pinterest board life or an Instagram worthy life or that old money aesthetic, things like that. That's not femininity. Like we discussed earlier, that's what the culture wants you to think it is. But it's your heart. It's about becoming the woman that God designed you to be. So Mary of Bethany, while others were busy, she was at Jesus' feet, choosing the better thing. Her femininity was devoted, focused, and reverent. So ladies, femininity is part of your inheritance from God. It's not a trend, and it's not a checklist, and it's not aesthetic, and it's not like a lifestyle. It's not being home in a dress and baking sourdough. It's a gift from God, and you don't need the world's approval to walk in your gift and your calling. You just need God's word, a surrendered heart, and a little bit of courage. Because let's face it, the world's going to come against you for it. If this video spoke to you, I'd love it if you left me a comment and let me know what aspect of your femininity is God working on growing right now. I will see you next time. God bless you.